जी आज हम आइल्स
बंद करो।
लिसनिंग के हवाले से बात करेंगे। तो हमारे साथ माशाल्लाह इनका तारफ़ तो पहले ही मैंने करवाया, इन्होंने काफ़ी अरसे से आइल्स की भी वो करवा रहे हैं। इंजीनियर मलिक शुजात साहब इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर हैं वैसे बेसिकली, और ओए लेवल को पढ़ाते हैं, बिज़नेस एमबीए भी इन्होंने किया है और ओए लेवल को भी पढ़ाते हैं, और मैथ भी पढ़ाते हैं, और इसके अलावा ओए लेवल के और बिज़नेस की किताब भी पढ़ाते हैं एमबीए के साथ। और काफ़ी इंटरनेशनल लोगों को भी ये ट्रेंड भी कर चुके हैं आइल्स के हवाले से भी, और अच्छा स्कोर 8 आपको चाहिए, अगर 8 बैंड पीआरशिप के लिए नॉर्मली चाहिए होता है, या वैसे आपने एकेडमिक एजुकेशन के लिए जाना है तो आपको आइल्स के हवाले से काफ़ी हेल्प करेंगे। उस हवाले से आप इनका नंबर भी शेयर कर देंगे। पिछली जो लिस्टिंग हुई है उसमें भी हमने शेयर किया था, जो वो था पिछला जो हमारा सेशन हुआ है स्पीकिंग पे। तो अभी भी इंशाल्लाह वेलकम, थैंक यू वेरी मच मलिक साहब, आपका शुक्रिया, आप तशरीफ लाए और आपने एक डेडिकेशन के साथ सेशन कर रहे हैं, और आई एम रियली अप्रिशिएट यू। और इंशाल्लाह ये दूसरा सेशन है, और इंशाल्लाह अगले 2 से हमारा आइल्स मुकम्मल हो जाएगा, और उसके बाद नए सेशन के साथ आएंगे इनके साथ। तो थैंक यू मलिक साहब, एंड ओवर टू यू प्लीज स्टार्ट
जी
एंड
जी जी, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम टू ऑल आवर लिसनर्स। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच हबीब साहब। आज जी हमने जिस तरह पिछली दफ़ा हमने किया था आइल्स, हमारा स्पीकिंग था और हमें काफ़ी अच्छा उसका फीडबैक भी आया, और कई लोगों ने हमसे पर्सनल 1-to-1 क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे और हमने उनके आंसर भी दिए। तो जिस तरह हम एक सीरीज चला रहे हैं, इंशाल्लाह हमने लास्ट टाइम आइल्स स्पीकिंग को कवर किया था, आज हम आइल्स लिसनिंग की टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स के ऊपर ज़रूर बात करेंगे, और फिर इससे आगे फर्दर जो हमारे पास सेशन होगा, देन वी मूव ऑन टू आइल्स राइटिंग, जो कि बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है। आई एम रिसीविंग सो मेनी क्वेरीज फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स, स्पेशली इन द राइटिंग, दे आर फेसिंग द प्रॉब्लम। So inshallah in the next session, coming session, will cover the writing in detail, and then the last but not least, that will be our IELTS reading. तो आज सबसे पहले हबीब साहब, हम लिसनिंग पे जाने से पहले थोड़ा सा हमने खास तौर पे जो नए और जिन्होंने भी आइल्स के टेस्ट में अपीयर होना है, थोड़ा सा हम पैटर्न उनको बताते चलें कि जी जिस तरह पहली लास्ट टाइम वी टॉक्ड अबाउट के वंस वी हैव गॉट वन वी गॉट एकेडमिक रीडिंग एंड द सेकंड वन इज द जनरल ट्रेनिंग. So one is the academic, second is the general training. This is I'm talking about the IELTS, and now listening is exactly the same for both of them. So there's no difference. Like speaking was exactly the same. Either you are appearing for a general or either you are appearing for the academic. So speaking is same, very much similar to speaking. The listening is also exactly the same. Now let's talk about listening. In listening, we have got a 40 minutes test. In this test we got the 4 sections, and approximately we'll get a 40 items, 40 questions, 4 sections, almost 10 questions each section, and we have got 30 minutes time in which the tape will be played. We will listening that audio, and then we'll write down the answers on the on roughly on that question paper na. Then you have got 10 minutes to get those answer on the answer sheet. They will give you an answer sheet separate, that is a bubble sheet 1 2 3, and then you have to just copy those answers from a question paper to answer sheet. For that you'll be given a separate 10 minutes. So altogether it's a 40 minutes, 30 minutes for listening audio and writing down the answer right on the question paper. Then you will get another 10 minutes. Once the audio will be off, they will tell you you have 10 minutes to copy your answers from your question paper to answer sheet. And the bubble sheet, they're written 1 2 3, and you have to just write down the answer there. So in this way, this test will be completed in the 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes, they will going to collect this one. So, Habib, this is my initial one. If you want to ask any question from here, then we move on to tips and tricks. So, do you like to ask here something, Habib Sam? Then we
जी
move on
मेरे
to
ख्याल
tips and tricks. Na, कि,
जी जी
जी
आप
जी.
करें, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल करें, जी जी टिप्स एंड ट्रिक ठीक है।
Okay. Now, first of all, my first suggestion is that keep listening until the recording stops. Sometimes you makes a trick. You think the answer is there, you got the answer, and the recording is still going on. And at the end of the recording, the answer lies. They actually tell you answer later on, but you think you have got the answer. So my first advice to you here is that keep listening until the recording stops, looking only at the question that relate to the part being played. Okay, let's suppose they are question 1 to 4. Now they will tell you that this recording is for question number 1 to 4. So my advice to the students is that keep listening until the recording stops and looking only at the question 1 to 4. Now, recording is being played for question 1 to 4, and you are looking at question 6 to 8 and 5, or question 6, 7. That is absolutely useless. You will be wasting your time. So, the first tip to you and to all our listeners and to all the aspirants who want to appear in this IELTS listening test, they must listen that you have to only look for those questions for which the recording is being played. So, looking only at the question that relate to the part being played. So number one, let's move to number two now. Because number two is answer listening questions in the order they appear on the question paper. Please make sure to all our listeners, it doesn't happen that you have just listened the answer of question number one, and then all of a sudden the answer of question number four will come. It will never happen. The audio will go in a sequence. First, the answer of question number one will come, then the answer of question number two will come, then the answer of question number three will come. So you have to make sure that first the answer of the first question will come. It cannot happen that audio is going on and all of a sudden the answer of question number five or four will appear. No, it's one, two, three, four. So in sequence. So you have to go one by one. So you must keep the sequence in mind and answer will be coming in that order. Number 3 point I will tell is that remember that they normally follow the order of the information in the recording. Things will come in the sequence. And number four, at the end of the recording, you have some time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Okay, now I want to tell you here, let's suppose after 30 minutes, once time will up, then we'll give you 10 minutes to copy all those answers to your bubble sheet. But after every section, they'll also give you some time. Now, this is a very important trick I want to tell to my audience. Your audio has been played of the first four questions. You have listened that. They will give you 30 seconds extra. In that 30 seconds, I think it's useless to look back. Why not to look front in the next four questions, which audio has to be played, and then try to just keep guessing that this sort of answer. Then you know, okay, this is a number, this is a name, that has to come. So my advice to students is once you have done this four, next 30 seconds, no need to look those. Try to read the next section, next 4 or 5 questions, and try to guess the answer. What will the answer? Because once the audio will be played, you will be mentally ready. You know what the answer is coming, what the answer most likely to be. Once that answer will come, and you will just pick that answer. So my advice is once he will give you the extra time, don't go back. But in that extra time, because he will never say you to read the next question, he will say, okay, you have 30 seconds just to look what you have done. So in those 30 seconds, you don't have to look what you have done. You have to just look forward what the next audio has to be played. So this is a very, very important tip it should be. The second thing is you have to make sure that the spelling should be absolutely correct. Because in spelling, you're going to make a mistake. Your answer will be dealt wrong. So your spelling should be correct. And then the second thing is there should be written, okay, your answer should not be more than 2 words. And you have to make sure that you have just write down 2 words. No 3 words. So this is something another which you have to be very, very careful. So this I want to give an important tip. And the fourth tip, I think, the thing that really confuses a lot, many of those who have appeared in the IELTS test, they must be knowing that in the listening, there are the questions that are related to maps. So I will advise all my listeners जो भी हमें सुन रहे हैं कि जरूर आप अपनी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में गूगल मैप्स को यूज करने की कोशिश करें, और खास तौर पे जिन्होंने आइल्स के टेस्ट में अपीयर होना है अभी, उन्हें मेरी जरूर ये होगी कि जी आप उसके जरूर गूगल मैप्स को यूज करें, बिकॉज देयर विल बी क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू द मैप्स एंड ही विल बी टेलिंग यू ओके now the roundabout is coming, take the third exit. You know the roundabout coming, no, we don't have to take the first exit, not go to second, third is right there, that exit we have to take it. So you can learn these things once you will be using those Google Maps. Even you know the address where you are going, but even then use the Google Map so that you can get yourself familiar with that audio. And once that you will be using, get the third, go right, take the go to the roundabout and take third exit. What does that mean? Take the third exit. I read roundabout, not to take the first, not the second and third. I have to take the exit. Okay, take the first right, go to the left, and on your right side, take the first exit. You will be using such words, so you must be very much familiar. So Google Map is something that will be confusing to many of our students, and they will come almost 4 to 5 marks. So you will lose, and that have a hell of a mark, 4 to 5 marks. So my advice to you: use the Google Map when you are traveling. And the third is many people, they really face a big problem, that is of accent. So I will advise you try to listen as much as that British accent, and I think BBC will be the best one. Try to listen as much as BBC, because once the recording will be played, I think many of you know the answer, they can do the answer, but the problem is they can't understand what is being said in the recording. And if you can't understand what is being said in the recording, then you can't really get the answer out of that. So it's very important, you must understand. For that, I will advise, as in our last session also, we advise the people to please go with that, the BBC News, something like that to the British accent. I think BBC is the best example I can quote, and the second best example other is going to be that you have got online. You can just see the audios of these all IELTS speaking tests. You can see the audios. Try to listen them as much as possible, because once you'll be listening these audios when you're sitting in the IELTS test, then that things will become very easy for you. So this is not something very difficult. I believe this is, if you ask me, out of those four, if your English is good, you can speak well, then definitely speaking easy. Then second easiest, I will, and even you can't speak English well, for those, I think this is going to be the most easiest part. This is IELTS listening test, but it needs a lot of practice. The more you will practice, the more it will be comfortable for you when you be sitting in the test. And the simple rule is, the more you practice, the more the marks you will get. So do practice hard, listen hard, try to improve your listening of that Cambridge pronunciation, that is British pronunciation. Try to listen as much as possible. BBC is the best source, and the second best source is try to listen the recording of these IELTS tests. So the more you will listen, the better you will become. So these are the tips. Another last tip before I hand over to Habib Saab. The tip is that please do read those instructions before every question they're written. Don't answer should not be more than 2 words, should not be more than 1 word, one number. So you have to read those. Once you violate these instructions, then there's every chance that you will be marked 0. So you have to keep those instructions in mind. Have to listen carefully, and before even appearing for the test, you must be very much familiar with that accent. And so in that day, you will not be facing so much problems. So I think these are the advices which I can give you. So Habib Sahab, I believe these are the advices. Is one, just keep these advices in mind and do practice with those IELTS Cambridge books. So they go their IELTS 1 to 17. I think those books are available in market. You can just purchase those, and then you have to practice those. So there's every chance that you can, inshallah, you will do very well.
अच्छा मल साहब, you were talking about the accents. So how to identify, यानी ability, लोग स्टूडेंट कैसे improve करें ability को, या identify करें या understand करें different accents जो हैं English listening के अंदर या IELTS listening के अंदर जो है, जो recording होती है इसके
अंदर. I will come to the simple rule. People normally who are appearing for the IELTS test, they don't have a time more than 1 or 2 months now. Simple rule for them is purchase those IELTS books. You get a CD with them. Try to listen that accent, and you will get exactly the same accent in your test on that day. Na? So try to listen that accent, and then try to do the tests. And let me tell you, once you will listen this accent, and then you appear in the test, at initial stage, if you will just mark yourself, you will be getting, if you're getting 16 or 18 out of 40, I think 18 or 20, that's okay, not a big problem. But now you will see, after every 2-3 days, your score will be keep improving with 3-4, 3-4, and by the end of the, I think, a month, you will see your score minimum you will be getting 30, 32, 33, and very soon, I think, then you will be touching 35. And there's 35, you're getting, I think, 8 bands, near 8 you move to with 35, na? 35, 36, you are getting those 8 bands. And I think that will be a magical score. And I believe that this is the most part of the test, is the most simple to get 8. With little practice, little dedication, these just give advices I've just given. And whenever you are traveling anywhere, just try to use the Google map, because 4 to 5 question related maps will be coming in your actual paper. So you will not be finding it difficult. So my advice to all my students would be that don't take this test easy, especially listening section. Let me tell you, this is a high score achieving, especially in the Canada as well. For the immigration, we are looking, they call you 877. So this is the I believe one module where scoring 8 is not difficult. If you're having a problem in speaking English and pronunciation, so it will be difficult to get 8. But once, with little effort, with little dedication, getting an 8 in IELTS listening, I think that's not too much difficult.
अच्छा मल साहब, इसके अंदर एक चीज़ और भी है कि कॉमन चैलेंजेस हैं, जो सम कॉमन मिस्टेक्स जो आपने ऑब्जर्व की कि टेस्ट टेकर्स देते हैं, उस हवाले से. और दूसरा, स्पेशली आप ये बताएं कि स्टूडेंट्स ट्रिकी क्वेश्चंस को कैसे हैंडल करें या टैकल करें, जबकि उन्होंने कोई एक स्पेसिफिक पार्ट ऑडियो का मिस कर दिया, फॉर एग्जांपल एक मिस हो गया. अब उसमें कैसे चैलेंज को इसको हल करें या सॉल्यूशन?
Habib, the biggest thing is if you miss here, and I think the students, the biggest blunder they make, once they miss one, just thinking and rethinking about that, they will miss the another one. So my advice is, once the things are gone, that are gone. You can't do much about that, because that audio will never be played again. That is for sure. Audio will be just played once. So right from the word go, you should concentrate your 100%. And once it is gone, it is gone. Nothing, no need to get panic. Then the best thing is, once you are left there, you're about to put those answers on the actual sheet, then you can just try yourself and try to any other thing. But this question should just be one or two. But if you just keep on thinking that missed, and there is every chance that you'll miss in the future, in the coming answers as well. So my advice is, once the answer is gone, don't think too much about that. And then you're listening, this is the answer. Let's suppose I've done question number one. Now question number two is missed. I'm thinking about question number two, but the answer of question number three has just been I have heard. So no need to get back to the two, then move on three and four. So it's very important. I just given you advice earlier on that 30 seconds they will say, okay, you have 30 seconds, recheck your answers of the previous section. You don't have to recheck the answer previous section. You have to be proactive. You have to read the next four questions. So you just be thinking what the answer is coming. If you are proactive and you are thinking, okay, dash or dash people, you thinking that 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. Once your mind is ready to accept this, once the audio will be played, it says, let's suppose 22. So you are ready to accept that thing in your mind, and you will be proactive and you will write down 22. There's every chance that you will write it correctly. So, and I think I'm sure my students will be understanding, all those who have given the IELTS test or those who want to give and they are practicing nowadays. What I mean. It's very, very important listening. You need to be proactive. That is why what I am saying. When they will give you 30 seconds before the audio will be played, just go through this question and make the rough guesses in your mind at what the answer is coming. So then it will really, I'm guessing it will be some number 10, 20, 30. Once they will speak in that speaking test, numbers, let's suppose 22 or 23 has been spoken. So it will be very, very easy for me to get that.
ठीक है। अच्छा
जी
मतलब
हबीब
इसके
साहब।
अंदर द अदर थिंग इज़ कि आपने नोट टेकिंग फॉर एग्जांपल आप एक मेरी सजेशन भी है और आप भी इसमें से ऐड कीजिएगा कि आप अपने ना शॉर्ट हैंड सिंबल्स बनाएं कि कॉमन वर्ड्स आप देख रहे हैं या कोई वीडियो सुन रहे हैं तो उसमें अपनी प्रैक्टिस करें कि आपने शॉर्ट हैंड में आपने क्या लिखना है, क्विकली नोट्स आप लिखने के हवाले से, मतलब ताकि जो ना आपकी वहां भी जब ऑडियो सुने तो क्विक नोट्स बनाएं। इस हवाले से कोई टिप दें कि वैसे ये भी टिप ही है इटसेल्फ ही कि आप नोट्स बनाने की प्रैक्टिस करें।
नहीं, Abhi sir, you are very much right. Let me tell you, once they give you that question paper, na, so I don't think there's need of any separate paper. Once they give you that question paper, and then you have to put those answers on the answer sheet, that is separate. So you, whatever you want to write, you can write on that question paper. Na? I understand. Let's suppose you're asking dash people. So I have just heard 25. I've written 25. I haven't written the answer sheet. I will write on the answer sheet later on. So once they said 25, then I have to move there. So I think the best tip I believe is that you just write down on that question paper there with a lead pencil, because all the paper you have to do it with a lead pencil. So just write down with the lead pencil. There's absolutely nothing from their side that why you've written on with a lead pencil 25 or 23 something with on your question paper. So whatever you listen, because you don't have a time that you're listening and then putting the answer on the answer sheet. For that, you have separate 10 minutes. So whatever you listen, whatever you think that comes, then just write down on your question paper. So that will be the biggest tip. And because for the transferring those answers from that question paper to answer sheet, you got 10 minutes. Now here I would like to also add one more thing. Because normally we have got 4 parts of this test. Now IELTS listening. 40 questions, 1 to 10 is your first, 11 to 20 is your second. Normally this is recording number 1. That is from question number 1 to 10. Recording number 2, that is question 11 to 20. I believe this is a real life now. This is first of all 1 to 10. This is a real life conversation is going on. Then the real life. Then we got another conversation, that is the part number recording 3. That is a bit difficult because recording 1 and 2 they are a bit easier, and recording 3 and recording number 4 they are a bit difficult because there's a conversation and they are maybe involving 2 and 3 people. Once those 2 and 3 people involved, it become little different, little difficult to differentiate between those and then write down the answer. So my advice is that try to make sure that you score the full marks in recording number 1 and 2, because that is a bit easier. And recording 3 and 4, that is a bit difficult. So that is going to be always creating a problem for you people.
ठीक है। अच्छा इसके अंदर मल साहब एक आखिरी क्वेश्चन इसमें इंप्रूव करने के लिए लिसनिंग स्किल्स आउटसाइड आप मतलब आइल्स के हवाले से नहीं, मैं कहता हूँ कि एक आपको डेली लाइफ के अंदर आप अपनी एक्टिविटीज ऐसी कौन सी डालें कि जिसके अंदर इम्प्रूव करें। इसमें फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप भी कमेंट कर दीजिएगा, मैं भी इसमें कमेंट करता हूँ कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप मूवीज देख रहे हैं तो उसको इंग्लिश सब टाइटल्स के साथ देखें, और टीवी शोज हैं या आप कोई म्यूजिक सुनते हैं तो वो इंग्लिश में है, पॉडकास्ट है या ऑडियो बुक्स हैं, या आप कन्वर्सेशन है तो वो करें। उसके बाद आपके जो है न्यूज या डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज हैं, जो मैंने आपको बताया था डॉन है, मतलब वो डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज आप सुने उसमें, ताकि लिसनिंग एबिलिटी आपकी बढ़ेगी, तब भी आप राइटिंग में वो कर सकेंगे ना। इसका मतलब है लिसनिंग के साथ ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट है मलिक साहब, लिसनिंग जब तक आपकी इंप्रूव नहीं होगी तो वो राइटिंग आपकी वो नहीं होगी। फिर कुछ एप्स होती हैं वो आप उसको कर लें, और उसके बाद गेम्स के हवाले से या मतलब इसके अलावा बाकी और भी इस तरह ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, तो आप इस हवाले से क्या कमेंट करेंगे?
हबीब साहब यू आर वेरी मच राइट, बिकॉज असल में तो हबीब साहब मेरी लिसनिंग ही अच्छी होगी तो राइटिंग को डेफिनेटली दैट विल कॉम्प्लीमेंट ना। आप एक की तैयारी कर रहे होंगे, बिकॉज मैं लिसनिंग अगर अच्छी तरीके से सुन रहा हूँ हबीब साहब, उसमें आप ऐसे ऐसे लफ्ज सुन लेंगे, इतने वो हाई वोकैबुलरी वर्ड्स, उनको आप अपनी वोकैबुलरी उसके अंदर यूज कर सकते हैं। तो हबीब साहब बिकॉज वंस यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर योर आइल्स, ऐसे तो हो नहीं सकता कि मैं आज पूरा तो कहूँ जी मैं ये पूरा हफ्ता ना 2 हफ्ते ना आइल्स लिसनिंग की तैयारी करूंगा, तो फिर आखिरी हफ्ता जो होगा ना वो मैं आइल्स स्पीकिंग करूंगा, तो फिर मैं जो है ना आइल्स राइटिंग करूंगा। ये तैयारी चारों मॉड्यूल एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं। अब देखें ना, आपने एक अच्छी वोकैबुलरी का वर्ड लिसनिंग में आप सुन रहे हैं, तो अब ये प्रोनाउंसिएशन आप जो सुन रहे हैं मैं बात कर रहा हूँ अभी सर, व्हेन यू सिट फॉर योर आइल्स स्पीकिंग, आपका टेस्ट होगा, अगर वर्ड को अच्छा प्रोनाउंस करेंगे तो वहां पे भी इंपैक्ट आएगा। तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, आप अच्छे लिसनर होंगे तो अच्छे स्पीकर भी होंगे। तो दीज ऑल आर एक्चुअली दे आर कॉम्प्लीमेंटिंग, और खास तौर पे इसको मैं कहूंगा खास तौर पे स्पीकिंग को और लिसनिंग को ये तो कॉम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे ही करेंगे। और मैं वही कहता हूँ यहाँ से अच्छा वर्ड उठाएंगे तो अब आइल्स राइटिंग के अंदर ले जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह। नेक्स्ट वीक हम आइल्स राइटिंग में डिटेल से बात कर रहे होंगे कि वो हाई वोकैबुलरी वर्ड्स का कितना इंपैक्ट होता है, वो आपका बैंड कहाँ से कहाँ पे ले जाते हैं अगर आप अच्छी वोकैबुलरी वर्ड्स यूज कर रहे हैं। उसके अंदर पंचुएशन, पैराग्राफिक सीक्वेंस, वी विल टॉकिंग ऑल इन डिटेल नेक्स्ट सेशन नेक्स्ट वीक। तो आइल्स राइटिंग, लेकिन अभी साहब यहाँ मैं आपके साथ बिल्कुल 100% एग्री करता हूँ कि अब अगर देखें ना तो चारों एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं। अब आप कहेंगे अच्छा चलें ये तो हो गया जी, आइल्स रीडिंग का क्या रोल है? ये सर रीडिंग में भी आई हैव टू जस्ट रीड, और वहां पे भी अक्सर आप सिनोनिम्स यूज कर रहे हैं। ये आइल्स रीडिंग हमारा इंशाल्लाह आफ्टर 2 वीक्स वी विल हैविंग अ सेशन ऑन आइल्स रीडिंग। आइल्स रीडिंग के अंदर यूं होगा कि पैराग्राफ जो दिया है कॉम्प्रीहेंशन वो जो है उसके अंदर एक वर्ड यूज किया, लेकिन क्वेश्चन में वो एक और वर्ड पूछ रहा है। तो अभी तो अगर आपको सिनोनिम्स नहीं आते होंगे तो वो आपके लिए बड़ा वो एक प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा। अब अभी तो मैं अपनी इसी बात को समझाने के लिए लेट सपोज ये कह देता हूँ, वहां आ जाता है जी, लेट सपोज रिटर्न है 2 बिग टॉयज, लेट सपोज कॉम्प्रीहेंशन के अंदर है, सो हाउ मेनी मैसिव टॉयज आर देयर, ये क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया। अब बिग और मैसिव देयर एग्जैक्टली द सेम मीनिंग। अगर आपको बिग और मैसिव अगर नहीं पता होगा तो भी आप कहेंगे कॉम्प्रीहेंशन में आंसर ही नहीं है इसका। तो इसलिए सो इंपॉर्टेंट कि आपको आपकी ये वर्ड वोकैबुलरी, मैं तो वैसे अक्सर अपने स्टूडेंट्स को एडवाइस करता हूँ, ट्राई टू लर्न द नेक्स्ट 10-15 डेज। आप जितनी अपनी आइल्स 17 बुक्स हैं, एटलीस्ट मैं 11 से 17 तो रिकमेंड करता हूँ कि लाजमी प्रैक्टिस की जाए, उसमें वर्ड्स आए, आप रोज नया वर्ड सीखें, डिक्शनरी में वर्ड्स देख के लिखे हो, अपने रजिस्टर में एक लिस्ट बनाते चले जाएं, एंड देन यू सी द मिरेकल व्हाट विल हैपन व्हेन यू सिटिंग इन द आइल्स स्पीकिंग टेस्ट के अंदर आप बैठे होंगे। जब आप आइल्स राइटिंग वहां तो एक अननोन टॉपिक आएगा, फिर आपको ये वर्ड्स एडजस्ट करने में, उनको लिखने में कितनी आसानी होगी। तो that will really create a lot of wonders for you as far as the bands is concerned. IELTS की vocabulary और उसकी impact कितना ज्यादा होगा।
Thank you, Malik Saab. I think so. It's a detailed session, and everything we have covered about IELTS listening, and audience will have question can take up later on. And thank you again for your time. And we will come up in next week, inshallah, with another module of IELTS. And for that time, Allah Hafiz, and thank you.